Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, Zebec family, you guys have been killing it with the likes, the comments, the absolute everything. So, you know what I'm saying? This coin officially got promoted to a daily upload, right? Unless, of course, something happens, with my life or super busy in real life or, some next level anomaly event. This coin got promoted to every single day. We're going to do some type of technical analysis. Now, once again, little disclaimer that does mean sometimes, there may be something repeated, right? You might hear me repeat certain stuff across multiple videos because there's only going to be 24 hours of new data, but at least you get a peace of mind. But, anyways, ladies and gentlemen, let's just jump right into this. Super excited with Zebec, right? Really happy actually with the way things have been playing out. And you know what? I am also a little bit proud of myself personally because I feel like our technical analysis has been on point generally when we have covered this coin. I feel like we've been like 95% plus right. um, you know, Guys, if you're not familiar, we literally called out buys like down at these levels. All right, we sold literally at like these levels over here, and then we have been calling out, the sell off, right? Saying there's no reversal signs, there's no nothing, and then when we did have this key change in momentum, we called out how we expected some type of sell off from this zone, right? And we did, right? It wasn't the craziest of sell offs, but ultimately from the zone, we retraced practically, let's just say 20%. The only thing, if you want to be really nitpicky, is like we were off by 3%, 3.5% of hitting a specific zone. But I mean, that's just how it is. Like, that's the sniper mentality. You have to realize that, right? The sniper mentality setups, and even just in normal trading, they don't always hit because sometimes the markets just don't retrace that extra 2, 3, 4% you need. And sometimes it's annoying. But then when you're not patient, they do retrace heavily. It's just a trader's life. Anyways, but look, we were accurate with the retracement, right? Right. We got this retracement, and then we said before this weekly candle even closed, a couple days before, that we believed that there was a high probability of us creating a higher low, right? This black candle is the bearish candle for us. Most of the time people have red, but we just decided to have different colors, right? So we had this one over here, and we said, listen, right? If this closes the way it closes before it closed, then we expected already last week to be a guarantee pump practically. And that's exactly what happened. We expected for us to get this type of close. It closed this way. And then guess what? Last week we pumped very well. And not only did we pump well, we sustained it, right? We had a roughly, let's just say 41 to 42% pump. And we sustained practically, I think a little bit over 30%, roughly 30%, 29, 30%, right? So we sustained practically 75%, which is good, which is really good. And we can see, right? We can see things have been looking solid. Now, what has happened over the last few days? Well, first off, we have been consistently creating higher and higher lows on something like the 4 hour, right? On the 4 hour. We also did pretty much retest off of this key zone over here, right? Just in terms of support and resistance. This is a very nice retest. Okay. Very nice retest. And when we look at the 4 hour, which, sorry guys, I just remember this. I know someone brought up that I move my keyboard and mouse and the screen a lot. I forget people aren't used to seeing like the charts the way I see them. And I just kind of just go at a rapid pace, but I'll try to slow it down. I'll try to be more conscious and aware of it. But we can see, right? Ultimately, we had a boom, big zone here, multiple taps on the 4 hour, right? And we can see for multiple hours we held. Not only did we hold, but we can see the candle closes here. They are consistently getting higher and higher, right? Not only are they consistently getting higher and higher, but they kind of like broke through this zone. It's really hard to draw it out precisely. If we go to something like maybe the hourly, we can see that we kind of just broke out through this zone. We had this kind of triangle get formed right over here, right? Boom, like this. And we're just continuously going to the upside. Now, there is a little bit of resistance, kind of like just say generally up here, right? There are, right? We can see for multiple hours, there's multiple taps. So this is going to be a zone where we have to pretty much, bulldozer through, right? Bulldozer through. Now, we did say there was a potential pullback possibility that I said maybe possibly on Monday and Tuesday for us to sweep this candle and just get slightly better correction, but it doesn't necessarily have to happen. Now, we are going to be aware of the fact that Bitcoin does have an annoying gap at 114,000. Okay. 114,000 gap, not very ideal. And we do have a gap at 118,500. So I do expect, at least at the bare minimum, for this gap to get filled, which is roughly a 2% drop. But if I'm being extremely honest, I also expect this, 114 gap to get filled. So that's gonna be roughly 5.5% drop, which usually altcoins experience 2 to 2.5 times more of a drop, right? So if we did experience roughly 10 to 15%, I mean, this is beyond 10 to 15%. I really doubt we would go over here. We'd also have to see Bitcoin dominance get absolutely pumped up, right? We'd have to see a double negative for altcoins. We'd have to see Bitcoin drop and we have to see Bitcoin dominance go up for us to kind of see this pump. As of right now, in terms of technical analysis, there is zero, I mean zero confirmation that will be happening. Okay. But yeah, look, we do have another zone. We're kind of stuck between two zones. Right over here, boom, is one of them. Right, this is the most important one. This is the most important one. Even if we bounce down, it's fine. As long as we maintain 0.0038 for the most part, generally at that price, right? We are looking good. And yeah, boom, right here, boom, we're kind of just going to be bouncing around. I do want to see a breakthrough to the upside. And when we do break through to the upside, we should be looking to recover back to 0.005, which would be what, roughly a 20% pump or so. Yeah, we could be going upwards of 20% possibly this week. Remember, these coins right now are in the fundamental recovery stage. Okay. This is not going to be in a time, especially for something Zebec after a huge rally where we're going to be seeing like a 30, 40, 50% pump. Is it possible? Technically, yes. But the thing is, even if we got a 50% pump, then over the next week or two, we're most likely going to get corrected anyways, and it's just going to be a long process. It's going to be a longer process. This playing out fundamentally the way it does is just better. It just really is better because you have to realize once we play things out fundamentally, we have zero reason to return. There's no gaps, there's no imbalance, there's no market going crazy, there's nothing. The market played out everything, it corrected everything, it did everything fundamentally, and it can just kind of bounce from zone to zone very slowly. And then when it is our time, with Bitcoin dominance getting absolutely destroyed, and the real altcoin season is going to be here, then Zebec will have glorious, glorious weeks. And I'm talking about, these types of pumps, right? Where Zebec does pump, 160% one week, right? But for multiple weeks and another 88% another week. So yeah, we're just setting up ultimately at the end of the day for success. I love you guys so much. Thank you for absolutely everything and have a great day. Goodbye.